Welcome to Colney Talk Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another episode of Colney Talk Podcast, the bite-sized show. I'm your host, Alex. First-time guest, happy to have you here. And to my returning listeners, thanks for joining me. On this bite-sized show, I talk a bit about the Arsenal game and then pick out my top 3 Arsenal players who I think were great in the game, and one player I consider the odd one who just had a poor game or not good enough who just needs to be called out. Last game of 2023, Arsenal looking to respond from their previous loss. First, Zinchenko not in the squad, Jesus on the bench, and really a warm welcome for Tomiyasu back in the squad. So, there were more hopes in how we would play out for this game. Even with the changes, it was another terrible loss. Worse than the previous game, actually. I think, again, just so much to dissect in this game. It was another fast start for Arsenal, which only lasted for a moment. This time, a poacher goal from Saka. It was great. I wanted to see more clinical improvements, clinical reactions that they didn't have in the previous game. Arsenal reacting and doing so much more quick decisions within the 18-yard box of Fulham. I was also looking at how reactive they were going to look when they got into the box and things with their passes that they did compared to the previous game, because that's the immediate comparison you have and how poor they were within the box. And Fulham had been on the ball as well, and their movements gave us a lot of fits. I mean, it opened up a lot of chances for them. In fact, the first clean open shot and goal told us like they were here for this game. And from that, for me, it was seeing how they were playing, which was not as defensive as most teams would play us. It definitely was now an open game. Fulham did show a threat a couple of times in our box and seemed to be moving through the middle with ease. I mean, they looked to be a handful as well. They challenged us defensively, and I saw for Arsenal one big issue where Ben White had a lot in terms of handling Robinson's pace and being able to manage the switch when William came in for support. Having a foothold, Fulham equalized from a quick fast break. We didn't even close down on the wing from Williams' cross. I was already feeling nervous that it started looking not very good for us. Ben White certainly needed more help on the right. And Arsenal, we had lost a lot of possession in the middle, and it was rather strange defensively. I mean, compared to how we would absorb some of the team's press and how they would attack us and how the team would stay off the ball and play defensively, nothing compared to this game. They just looked miles off. And Arsenal tried to get back into the game, rebuilding their phase in attack. One of the best plays they had resulted in a very close angle shot away from the post by Martinelli, courtesy of one quick touch plays that was very encouraging. And this is what I was hoping to see earlier. So we had that. Fulham were now defensively responsive, having successfully dispossessed Arsenal a lot of times. When we got the ball, when Odegaard a lot of times received the ball, they just pounced on him, picked the ball, and they drove forward. We didn't have our usual control going forward because every time we lost the ball high up, we were stretched so much, making it easy for Fulham to drive through, getting more bodies forward. I didn't like that Odegaard got taken out a lot in physical duels, which got him off his game. I mean, that was a tactic. It worked very well, and physically he's never one to endure such battles, and they really take it out on him quickly, very well. I was waiting for Eddie to cause some problems. Couldn't find him, couldn't see him. He didn't get in the service. I'm not sure how much he contributed to getting things forward or causing some sort of disruption. So there was nothing going on there. Arsenal tried to build an attack and then some one more time before it was end of the first half, but nothing came of it. Just flat. And we needed more defensive structure in the middle. And then Tomiyasu coming in for Kivior in the second half was really reassuring, thinking at least we had to adjust what we experienced in the first half. Fulham still gave us fits, a lot of fits. Saka getting pushed in further in the right when receiving the ball. Oh, we had our work cut out for us, and we needed a tactical change more technical change immediately. And the Fulham just kept at it. They were really on this game, on top of us. A lot of chances and a couple of times resulted in corners. And actually, they had 2 corners in 2 successive drives. And in the following corner, we conceded a goal. Now we were 2-1 down. That feeling that I had earlier just came through. I just didn't feel the team had responded back, fought back in to push a little bit of that pressure off, and that was how it resulted in that conceding goal. In fact, even from that corner. So now we had to fight back, but Arsenal were not looking sharp, not even hungry in terms of responding. Fulham were more up for it than we were. So we had to bring in Jesus and Trossard, hoping to at least make some more improvements for our, attacking game plans. But Fulham, still looking the better team, kept frustrating us, staying on top of us in different ways, just causing a lot of disruptions for us. And the frustration started mounting. You can see the players, their body language, the way they kept playing, the way they held the ball, even from the line moving forward, just not knowing how they could make such passes. This is credit to Fulham, how they played us. Closed down ranks, channels, didn't really give us a lot of outlets. And when Rice received the ball, trying to serve it to Odegaard, nothing was going there. And then on the left, it was barely anything there. There was no service, even when Martinelli was there, as much as we hoped to have him use his pace. And Arsenal, they found it difficult to find any good, meaningful passes going forward. 10 minutes to 90, I was still holding out hope for a miracle because we were still 2-0 down. Saka doing the most, but he was just getting clobbered by Fulham's defense. And Arsenal were just riddled with bad passes and poor play. It was awful. I mean, this was the kind of poor energy and performance from the players that you hadn't seen in a while, and just flat out unbearable. 5 minutes added to 90. It was just still Arsenal looking flat, timid, not getting that drive that they usually would have in believing what they could do in those few minutes to climb back in and equalize or get something from the game. And Arsenal working on some shade of attack, and it just all fizzled out. Nothing really happened. It just stunk, every part of it. We needed this win, and we failed to get it done. So it was back-to-back defeats for Arsenal. No incision in attack. Surprisingly slow for a typical fast team, and a lot of the balls were off. Passes, crosses, just everything just not going well. It was a miserable outing for the boys. There wasn't that extra hunger and energy to respond from our home loss, and seeing how they could translate that or at least respond, it was not there. It wasn't present. Even when we were 1 goal up, I didn't see the team control the game. Credit goes to Fulham. Their game plan worked against us. Odegaard was knocked off a lot, and I think that contributed to taking away his main influence in the middle. And that's just the full summary of the game. There wasn't anything else except just a few players that tried to show some positives. And here are my 3 players that I think were better from this game. First player, Saka. He was thrusted in as the main man in our attack, even though we had Eddie and Martinelli. Yes, the contributions of what they do makes the whole core combine and, really affect the score sheets. But Saka felt like everything was flowing through him, even when he just constantly gets double teamed, and he didn't really have his best game in terms of dribbling, but he was better than the most. He had the most influence to trigger the crosses and switch plays for Martinelli and Odegaard. As much as I wished and wondered why others weren't taking shots or making plays, Arsenal were just handicapped to wide players and non-existent centre forward. Not at all. Second player, Big Gabby. The nature of our poor pass plays put a lot of stress in our back line. And for that, Big Gabby was going about his business, sweeping, closing out danger on the left side of our defense. As much as Saliba, who had his own share, who was impressive in some ways, he did the same as well, quite a lot more. And after the change in personnel with Tomiyasu coming in, Big Gabby was defending just as well and contributed a lot. He had a really close chance to score and equalizing, but just just couldn't be. Third player, Rice. He was good in this game, and he did his best to contribute more offensively than defensively. I mean, that's just de facto for him. As much as he was missing a partner in the middle, I think he still played effectively. As I said, overall, not the best performance from the team, but I think he was one of the few that separated himself from the rest. I know I'm disappointed, just as you are. It was just such an odd show for the players, and for me, the one player who was really odd in terms of the Arsenal team, I was really surprised that he stayed on throughout the game. That was Eddie Nketiah. I know he needs only a half a chance to do something. Well, he did nothing in the game. No meaningful contributions. Perhaps his style of play was not going to work today, and it was very evident. No sharp moves that could have done something, or around the ball in the box. He was not sharp in and around the box. He would have been the player to sub, but when you're chasing a lead, I can understand why you need all your attacking players, and I just didn't see him. I didn't see any part of his contributions or press or his physical energy to the attack. Nothing there. I just couldn't find it. So that's my odd player today, and it just wasn't his day at all. It is another bitter loss and disappointing feeling. That's how it concludes our 2023 calendar season. I hope, and I really hope, Arsenal respond the right way in terms of recruitment and game strategies, because I feel just as bummed out as you all do, but just got to pick ourselves up here. Here's to a massive celebration at the end of the season when we turn things around. I wish you all a happy new year. Thank you all for joining me and being good listeners on this podcast. I hope to see you all in 2024. Until then, talk to you all. Take care.